Hi, welcome back to Country Basket Weaving. I'm your hostess, Sandy Atkinson. Today we're going to be working on our hanging doorknob basket, and it's a pretty little basket to hang on your doorknob, or you could hang it other places too, of course. It'll look beautiful with a spring bouquet in it, or at Christmas time you could do a beautiful Christmas arrangement in it and hang it on your doorknob. It's an easy basket to do too. To get started, the material and cut is very simple today. You're going to need 1/2 inch flat, cut 12 pieces 33 inches long, and you're going to need 3 or 4 or maybe even number 5 millimeter cane. That's the only thing you're going to need. Cut your pieces at 33 inches, and then on the wrong side you're going to mark them, but they're not in the middle. You're going to mark 14 inches from one end in, and that's 14 inches, and then the other end is just going to be left. Lay your pieces under a spoke weight. You're going to lay 6 of them underneath a spoke weight, and the 14-inch end is up. Then weave across, beginning with the 14-inch end, so you have all your 14-inch lines down here on the side. And I've gone ahead and done the weaving to save time, except for the last piece. There's my 14-inch line, and I'm going to just bring it up here. The spacing is 1/4 inch, and remember, we're always going to start on near the line and work out. So I'm going to bring this over here. I can get rid of my spoke weight, and I'm just butting it up to that 1/4 inch piece. It's a small spacing on this basket. Always starting from that inside line and working out, coming up here and doing the very same thing. Pull those pieces up so you have a 1/4 inch spacing. I just keep some scrap pieces of reed, different sizes in my toolbox, so I always have an appropriate measurement when I need it. Okay, take your 4 clothespins and you're going to clamp the corners, because now that I've got my spacing done, I need to turn it, and I don't want the spacing to shift. Bring it around so your 14-inch ends are down here next to you. Take off your clothespin. Now, starting on the weave that's under, which would be this one here, you're going to bring it up and fold it so it follows itself right up here, like, just follows itself right up. Come over and get the opposite piece and do the same thing. Come back to the right side and fold it up the same way. Now we're going to come back to the left side again, but because this one's woven over, our next one has to weave under, so I need to pick up my first piece and lay it back down. And if you keep everything lined up to itself, following it the same spoke, your measurements will be the same and your spacing will stay even. Now come back here to the center again, and coming to the right side, because this one is woven, this one's under, over, then this one must be under first and then over. Back to the left side, we have it over, under, so this one must be over, under, and then over. You're just going to work this pattern back and forth, opposite of the weave you did before it. So I'm over, over, so this one must be under the first one, over, under, and over. And each time, of course, you're gaining a spoke here. As we work this pattern up, you're gaining a spoke. Some of you are probably familiar with the elbow basket, and that is made in the same pattern. Just continue working this up. Take your clothespin off when you come to your ends. On this one, I'm under here, so I must be over, and then under, over, under. And the last one has to be under, over, over, under. Okay. I like to put a clothespin up here. First, what I'm doing here is just simply spacing, making sure my spaces are the same as the one underneath it. It's same spoke. Come up here, and I like to put a clothespin here. These are my short ends. Turn the basket over to the long ends. Now my long ends are up. I'm going to come to the side here, and I'm going to pick up the weaving that I did before. And this one over here is under, pardon me, this one here is over. I must be under my next spoke, and my next spoke is the corner spoke right here. So I'm going to be under it, and I'm going to put a little turn on this piece right in here, bring it around back, and continue following the pattern, over, under, over, under. Now I get my spacing done, so I like to put a clothespin here to hold that piece. Otherwise, because of the turn, it's going to pop right out. Come back here, bring this one over. This is my next corner spoke. I'm going to be over this one, so I must be under the next one and work the pattern out over, under, over, under. And I'm going to put a clothespin there. Come back to this side and work the pattern. Again, I'm over here, so I must be under this next spoke. Put that turn on it in here. There's going to be a turn. And keep right on weaving that pattern out. I like to work on one side. Now, at this point, you could go back and work on this side, but I think that's a little more confusing. Come over here. Again, I have to put that little turn here at my corner, following the same pattern over, under. I'm going to weave that out. A couple more here. Putting that turn out. See how that's nicely forming that side? This is a fun pattern to do. It is a little confusing the first time you do it. But it's one that you'll understand, I think, once you start doing it and working on it. One more, oh, two more to do. One over here. This needs to be under, and that one would be over. I'm going to put a clothespin to hold everything together. Come to the other side now, and we're going to start working the very same pattern. Here I'm under, over, so I know I have to be under the next side, and I also have to put the turn on it. Now, I have more pieces on this side now because this wall has worked its way over. So I have to work my long end, this is a long end, and I have to work that all the way to the end up here. So it actually joins in the left side. Come back here, this is a short one. So I know the short one's only going to have to weave up a little ways. In fact, I like to count up here. I have 6 holes. If you start here at this hole, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can put a clothespin right there. This is my short side, and that will tell me that's going to be this point right here in the basket. Okay, come back here. Needs to go over and under. Make that turn on the corner and work the piece all the way across the back to the other side. Again, watch your spacing as you go up. And come back to this side, work your short piece. Work back and forth from side to side, and I think it's less confusing that way. Okay, that's as far as I need to go up there, because this is my center. Back to this side. This makes a beautiful gift item to give to somebody, and especially if you're in a hurry, you can do this one up rather fast and have a really nice gift to give to someone. And work this side. Watch your spacing. Make nice turns here. Make sure you have a nice turn coming around your corners. And I'm going to come over and I'm going to get this one now. Work this one across. Because these are my long side pieces that come around my back and up to the other side. And I got another one here. There, we have the whole basket woven. Now we're on tucking and cutting, but before I start that, I like to come back here and see how some of these got out of line. We just need to come back, and I can eyeball it. If you need to, get out your spacer and check your width in here and make sure it's about 1/4 of an inch. And just check your spacing, play with the spacing, get it all even. Some of them over here need to be spaced. And I come up here now. This is in the back of the basket. This is my bottom point. And kind of eyeball and make sure that this last one here is right even, so you have a nice, squared basket. Even though it's not really squared, it needs to be nicely shaped. And sometimes it's just a matter of playing with it, adjusting it here and there. Okay, then turn it over, and now we're ready to tuck and cut. Now, this may be a little confusing at first because we have all these ends sticking out here. I like to start over here at the side. It doesn't matter which one you choose. I'm going to choose one I tuck. If it has one in front of it here, it's going to tuck. And we have lots of length here. I come down to this one. I hope you can see this. I know this is hard. And I'm going to tuck it underneath that one, so I'm kind of measuring with my thumb, cutting off the end. And I'm going to come up here, and these are loose, so you should be able to slide it under there pretty easy. If not, go ahead and use a tool. This one's going to be cut off, even with the top, and this one's going to bend, and I'm going to tuck it right into here. Okay. Now, I'm going to come and get this one at my peak and bring it over, and I'm going to tuck it under that one there, because obviously this one wouldn't hold it real well. And then this piece I'm going to leave out for a minute. This one here is my second one down, is going to get cut off, and this one here is going to bend and tuck down here under this spoke. And I hope you can see what I'm doing, because it really makes sense when you start to do it. But sometimes you need to stop and think. Make sure you're not cutting off the wrong one, and make sure you have a spot to tuck that one in. Okay, this one's going to get cut off. Now that I've got some of these pieces, it'll be easier to tuck the front ones. And this is my other corner piece, and I'm going to bring it and tuck it in here. Tuck it under that one that I already tucked. Keep working the pattern back and forth. Sometimes it's easier to come in here and cut the ones off, get those lengths out of the way. Now this one will tuck, this one will cut. Come in here, bend this down and tuck. Keep working this pattern back and forth from side to side, and keep working the tucks and the cuts until you have them all cut and tucked. And I'm going to go to the next basket. We almost did that whole basket, didn't we? Once we have everything cut and tucked, let me show you here. These are all cut off in here, and these are tucked, the ones that will fold over and tuck. I see I have a little bit of length on some of these, so come in and we're just going to snip that off. And then we're going to need some flat, half-inch flat. And we're going to start here in the front. This is going to be our rim that we're putting on. And right here is my point. I'm going to come and tuck this end under here. Raise that up a little bit. Make sure you have the right side of your readout. That would be the smooth side. Bring this up and around. Now, when you come up and around here, it's a little tricky. We're just going to bring this to make our handle, but we have to bring it this way because I want that handle fold in the back. That wasn't quite right. So it comes here. Let me do it again for you. Here's my length up here. Just bring it around, and this fits back there. So you have a nice arch on this. And then continue bringing this piece around for your rim. Oh, I'm out of clothespins. Let me grab one in my water here. Okay, bring this back down around here, and we need to tuck and hide this in, so I'm going to hide it under here. It's going to cross right over the front of the one I started on, and it's going to tuck down in there and hide. Now I have both of my ends hidden. I need to repeat this pattern on the inside, so I'm going to come in and I'm looking inside, and I'm finding a place to tuck it, which is not hard to do. It's right there. And bring this one up. And it needs to follow the handle. So I'm going to pick up the handle here, bring it around, make a cross here. Make sure you have this tightly together so that there aren't any gaps in it when you go to do that handle wrap. Bring it around here. And it's going to follow the rim, and you're going to have to find a place inside to tuck it, and there will be a place in there. So I'm going to come in here and just cut off my length, because I can see, I know that you can't see inside the basket, but there is a place to tuck it in there. Reach inside the basket and give it a tuck. There we go. Okay. Now, the caning that you use, I know I told you on the cut pattern you could use any size. On this one I use 5mm. Here I have some 3. So, you know, it's really just whatever you choose, whatever you happen to have on hand. We're going to have the the shiny side, which would be the oval shiny side, come in here. And we're going to do this just like we always do our baskets. I still think this is one of the better ways to fasten this in, secure it in there. Bring it up. You have a rim, a basket, and a rim. Come between the inside rim and basket and bring that piece up about 5 inches. Circle around. Now I'm going between the basket and the outside rim. It's real easy to lash this one because of all these nice little holes that you have here already. Bring it back to the inside and repeat that step once again. And down. I'm going to leave that little tail on the outside. As I get along and progress along on the basket, I'll go ahead and cut it off. Okay, I'm going to straighten it out. I don't even need a point on this one because it fits in here so nice. I'm going to come over and start lashing. And if it even gets tangled this time or gets it's real easy to go ahead and straighten out. I single lash this pattern because of the handle wrap. It would be awful difficult to go back and double lash it. So we're just going to single lash it. I think I'll go ahead and start the other end to keep it a little bit straighter and more control. And pull this through. You need to pull everything tight. Oh, I knew this would happen. I always seem to tangle it. There we go. Come back in here and make sure you're getting these tight. Use your thumb and work these down and get these nice and tight. Go ahead and put a clip on them too. That will help hold it. Okay, I'm going to work a little bit faster because I want to get up to the handle. And I'm going to pull this end here. Give it a good tug. Move that clothespin right along with you. I'm going to take this one off and I'm going to bring it and put it up here. Keep my handle pieces together. Once you do the pattern and you understand how it's put together, like I said earlier, it's a wonderful pattern to use for gifts. And if you're real creative, you could even fill it for somebody according to the season of the year. Or send over a pretty napkin with it and maybe some jam inside, some homemade jam. Okay, I'm up to my handle wrap. Now that I've done this I would try to take some time and fit this in a little bit better in here. Tighten, make sure these are nice and tight. Then I'm going to bring it across here and behind my handle and begin my handle wrap. And this is just a solid wrap. It makes a nice sturdy handle. It'll wear good because it probably would rub on the doorknob, so this would help it to wear real well. And the caning, of course, would wear better than if you used flat reed up here to wrap with, a small size flat reed. The caning will wear much better. Go ahead and wrap the handle. When you get back down here, you simply continue on. You're going to cross over. Let me show you on this one, and you're going to come behind. I also want to show you, because it is such a long length to wrap, you probably will not be able to use one piece and do a continuous wrap, because this is a long area. It takes up a lot of cane to wrap in here. So let me show you how to end it. When I have about 6 inches left, I'm going to take my new piece, and this is the shiny part, the front of the cane, and I'm going to slide it underneath towards the, whoops, I need to come over here, towards the left side. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Then continue to wrap. What I'm doing is I'm catching this end. The wrong side is out. Continue to wrap. Make sure everything's butting up tight. And when you're almost to the end of it, you're going to do a miter. No, I was right the first time. This one, pardon me, needs to come over. Let's back up here. It needs to be on the right side. And then as I continue to wrap this piece, this one I'm going to miter and bring it down, pick up the new piece and do a miter so that the two miters butt up to each other. And then I'm going to continue to wrap. I need to put a little fold on there. And then continue to wrap this piece. I like to, if you do it real clean, you won't even be able to tell you added on there. You need to put a pinch on those and fold them down so they lay flat. That's how you continue on when you're doing a wrap, and then just continue on wrapping. Now I should have enough length on this piece to finish it. Let me do a few wraps here. And as I'm wrapping this, I'm catching the tail. I have a tail hanging out here. That was where my new piece was added on. And you can just continue wrapping. A really quick basket, a fun basket to do. Maybe it's one that you could even show your son or your daughter and share with people that way. Share your basket weaving. Teach others the patterns. Keep this art alive. And I'm just doing wraps now. I'm going to end the basket the very same way I started it, at the very same spot, and it shouldn't be real tight in there because this is a loose fitting basket, so you should be able to go ahead and do it twice. I like to see it done twice. It makes it just that much sturdier, so that end will never come out. And I'm talking about when we get back to here. I'm going to try to wrap this quickly in here so I can show you how to bring it around and keep right on going. See how it was important that I keep the two pieces right together, tightly together, my two handle pieces, so that I don't have any bulk left over in here. If I had some bulk left over, I would need to unwrap and do some pulling in here either way, find out which one is bulking on you, and go ahead and pull it, come back to the ends, to the sides down here, and give it a tug and pull it tight. But if you keep it tight and use some clothespins up here as you are putting that rim on, then you shouldn't have that problem. I'm almost back to where we started. A couple more wraps here. Butt it all up tight. Now, as I come around here, I'm going to bring it from behind. And let's see, it might be easier. I need to do one more wrap. And I can bring it from behind and continue on in here. Going back into this hole here from the back. And then working it. Nope, on this one, the way I'm going here, I'm going to have to be working from the outside in, which is kind of backwards. It would work, however. But I think I would be more comfortable if I brought it. Let's see what happens. Let's bring it around this way. Bring it to the front. And in here. I think I like that a little better. Either way, whichever one you're comfortable with. And then just continue on with your wrap. End it up the very same way you started it. When you get down to your center point right in here, make sure you put an X in here, because this is what's going to hold these two pieces together. We don't want our two, remember we tucked and hid them under in here. We want to make sure they don't slide. So make sure you put an X here, continue on, and this is where I ended it because I started it there also. A real quick basket to do, a fun basket to do. I think makes a lovely gift or hang it in your own home. Next week we're going to be working on a shopping basket, an old-fashioned type shopping basket. Has two swing handles that we're going to create ourselves. We're going to carve part of the handle, and you're going to learn a new wrap on the handle. A beautiful spiral braid going up the side. I'm really going to look forward to seeing you then. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.